Oh, Python's also the inspiration to spam emails. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. But anyway, for those who couldn't get through, I'll just do a quick playthrough. And I'll go to the itch.io version. Just to see how it's travelling. So here it is, Night of the Living Fandumb on itch.io. Now if I just go to analytics, we'll be able to see the stats. So, alright, so that's had about 1,500 views on it. 2 days after it came out, it was really popular, 648 views. It's now down to 24 views, so we're, most people have played it by now. So that's kind of cool. So if you haven't played it, maybe don't watch me play it because I'm going to spoiler it. But we will now play it. So here we go. I had a title page. So sitting at home watching TV, and BTS variety show comes on. So it doesn't really matter which option you pick here, but you do get some different results. If you're a BTS fan, you can watch it, and then it will just sort of tell you about what you see. There's a little undo feature on the left here. If you decide you want to watch something else, you end up watching Chu. This is a reference to the previous fan fiction, where Chu is endorsing a samurai sword that no, not a sword. She's endorsing a screen door that a samurai sword can't get through, because in the Halloween fiction from last year, she killed you by poking a sword through a screen door. So that's what that's all about. Or you can just not watch any TV whatsoever. Either way, what's happening here is that BTS armies are listening to you through your television. So it doesn't matter what you do, because you end up yawning at some point, and then they hear the yawn, and because you're yawning during the BTS special, then you're marked for death. And that's what instigates everything else. And that's why your choice doesn't really matter, because even then you're yawning here. So there we go. So if we ignore the phone, then we're in trouble. So basically you get an axe through the head and you die. But if you check the phone, then you bend down to check the phone and the axe misses, and then then the story starts. So here's BTS. Did anyone come out of the room of Big Clit Entertainment buying out Luna's contracts? Never heard of it. Yeah, yawning's like that. Apparently yawning is contagious. If you talk about yawning, people will yawn. It's a psychological fact, apparently. Anyway, so someone tries to kill you, they run off, so you take a deep breath. You can try and take the axe out of the wall, but it won't work. You can call the police, and that kind of triggers you to the idea that something's wrong, because the police just start talking about how they weren't able to successfully kill you. So they're obviously been taken over by BTS. You can check the TV for news of axe murderers, and then you just get a TV show where they just only talk about BTS and nothing else. And it also is a signal that something's seriously wrong. So you just get out of the house. If you destroy the TV, you end up detonating the bomb prematurely that's inside the TV, and you die. But if you get out of the house, then the bomb detonates when you're about 50 meters away from the house. So that was their backup plan. If the axe didn't work, they were going to blow your house up. Is it mentioned why the armies are after the protagonist? Yeah, I just went through that. It's because well, it's not. They're after everybody. Like if you're a BTS anti, you're going to get killed. And because you yawned during the BTS special, then that's why they want to kill you. So, which is silly, of course, but then it's just a fun fan fiction about how stupid armies are. So, because I could actually picture them doing that. The inspiration for this was a lot of the stuff with Australian Sana, where, I mean, Australian Sana's obviously a really, really big BTS fan, yet she just gets constantly harassed and called an anti just over the littlest things. You know, she'll say something and they'll find a way to twist it to make her sound like she's an anti when she's not, and that's kind of what's happening here to this person, to your character in the story, because you know you may or may not care about BTS, but you're not really an anti, but they think you are because you did something really, really small. So that's kind of one of the underlying things about this fiction. So you run away. If you try and find a hiding spot, it's very difficult to hide because the house is on fire, so it's lighting up the whole area. So if you try and plead for mercy, that doesn't work because armies have no mercy. If you come out fighting, there's too many of them, so you just have to run. So you're running, then you can open the bag, and it just tells you what's in there. I originally had more objects in the bag, but the thing about making straw man is about crazy people online. I often turn to predictions. Well, yeah. Well, if people are tarring you as X, Y, Z, then after a while you start thinking, well, I might as well start acting like X, Y, Z because I'm getting the treatment anyway. If anything, those people who think Australian Sana is an anti are going to turn her into one. You know, so this is super counterproductive. If I was a BTS fan, I'd just leave her the fuck alone if I didn't like what she said, instead of just being a douche about it. But morons, what can you say? So you can go to the city or you can go to the rural areas. If you go to the rural areas, there's a bit of a hint that, hey, maybe this doesn't work out. But if you keep going, you get killed by some people on a farm who are also BTS fans, because everyone's a BTS fan and they're all looking to kill you. If you go into the city, now this is where you got the infinite loop. So you can continue walking. you can just keep walking and walking, and it will just keep going and going and going. Once the text turns purple, that's indicating that you're repeating, and eventually you take the bus. On the bus, you can look at other people's phones, and you'll notice that everybody is watching the BTS special because they're all either BTS zombie armies or they're people who are afraid of getting caught by BTS zombie armies. So that's why they're alive. So you can, if you try to sleep, it doesn't work. You die because you're not allowed to sleep during the BTS special. That means you're an anti. Once again, it's bad behaviour. You can't do that. You have to stay awake. You can look out the window. That's okay. You can look at your own phone, and then you've got all these news articles, and we can see that the crazy BTS fans have also taken over all the news networks. So all the articles are just completely pro BTS, and it drops a hint that that's what's happened here, just in the bottom of the second one. Wow, this website's gotten so much better after we killed all those stupid journalists and took over. So and everything else is and here it also drops a hint as to why you're being hunted and killed. Everyone must watch, turning off the TV, yawning, showing disinterest, changing channel, all punishable by death. So that sort of gives you the hint about what's going on. It doesn't. With the fan fictions, I often don't tell you straight away what's happening and why, but I'll find a way to shoehorn it in there somewhere, and you'll pick it out. So this is dropping a hint about what's going to happen later, that some girl group's going to get involved and there's a disturbance. Let's watch out for trouble. watch out for the BTS anti at large, and that's a picture of you. How to detect a BTS anti is just silly. How to look best to BTS is just a bunch of random photos. This was actually pulled off this came up on my Twitter feed. Someone said that to Australian Sana, I think, or to maybe someone else, I can't remember. But they said BTS stands for Bind, Torture, Slice. And I thought that was really funny. So I put that in the fanfic. And whether everything's fine because we have BTS, what do you need weather for? You're a hater. Anyway, once that's all done, then you just keep going into the city. Now, if you try to go to the police, you have a bad time. There's a bit of a hint here that she's a bit young to be a police officer. If you report your emergency, you die, because and this dialogue here is actually exactly the same as the dialogue that happens if you try and report it to the police on the phone earlier in the fiction, because you're actually talking to the same person. So that's a bit of a hint. There's a lot of continuity stuff like that in pretty much all the fan fiction I write. Always has a lot of continuity sort of things like that. Anyway, so the other option is to go to the cafe, so you can do that. Then you can order some food, and then you eat the food. Everyone's watching BTS TV on the TV in the cafe, so you don't need your phone in front of you anymore. So you eat the food, but then an advert comes on. And of course, during the advert, all the people who are just staring at the screen suddenly stop doing it and start looking around, and that's when they recognise you. So heaps of people got stuck on this part. Then they pick this option, try to convince them it's not you. But of course, they've all seen your face which you'll know from the news report, because it's got a picture of you there. Plus, they're BTS armies, so there's no reasoning with them anyway. You know, that's part of the point of this fan fiction, is just highlighting how these people don't listen to any sort of reason. If they did, Australian Sana wouldn't have so much problems online. So that's so I'm just highlighting the fact that these people aren't particularly rational. So obviously that's not going to work. You can't run out of the cafe because the owner blocks you, but you can fight them for a little while. Then someone drops a rope down. If you keep fighting them, you die, because there's just too many. But then you can grab the rope. Now, the people who are saving you are actually Luna YXYY, which I don't actually state anywhere in this fiction. It's not stated directly anywhere, but it's implied in various ways that it's them. And people who are Luna fans would have been able to pick it out. The loud young girl with the toothy grin is Olivia here, and the other girl is Go-On, who recently changed her hair to black, so both young girls with black hair. But she doesn't really, Go-On doesn't really do a lot. And so you follow the girls. There's a bit of exposition here where we talk about what's going on. If you say that all fandoms are arseholes, why can't people just be normal? Then Olivia here actually pins you down and tells the BTS armies where you are, so you get killed, because she's obviously wants people to be Luna fans. So if you pick one of the other options, it's alright. And she says, okay, we're going to get you over to Blockberry. So, and now the final decision really is whether you take the sword or don't. In order to get the good ending, you have to not take the sword, because taking the sword weighs you down because it's heavy. So if you grab the so you're running along, but you kind of miss the other girls. You don't get to go up on the helicopter when they do. So then later on you grab the ladder, but it's a bit too late, and then you die. Or you can fight the armies, and you've got a very, very cool ending where you still die, but you at least take quite a lot of them with you. But either way, you don't get to escape in time. And so, but if you don't take the sword, then you're fast enough to get away. And In the helicopter, you have a tall girl with long black hair who's piloting, who is Eves, and a hyperactive redhead wielding a shotgun who is Chew. And you sort of almost recognise her as well. Then you suddenly realise that you've seen her somewhere before, on TV perhaps, but you can't quite place the face on the name. That's because there's a possibility that you might have seen her at the start of the game where she's advertising the screen door. So it's just a little bit of a nod to that. And that's it. That's how to get through it. So hopefully you had fun with that. And if you didn't, then go and play it and have some fun.